Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle, I hope you're doing well. And we're not even 10 seconds into the video and I get spiked by one of them things. You don't believe how many scratches there are all over my legs. I don't care, I grew up here. This is my land. It's not actually physically my land. I wish it was, but I feel like it is. Okay, well that leads me nicely into this video. I want to go through some things. I want to make some things absolutely clear. And hopefully this video will start to tie in some of the things that I've been talking about in the Summer Wells case for quite a while, for quite a long time. If you're new to the channel, or you're new to the Summer Wells case generally, I'd like you to do some homework before you listen to this video. I'd like you to watch a couple of videos of mine and I'd like you to listen to a song. It will take you less than an hour to do that, maybe about an hour to do that. And then I want you to come back and then resume this video. So if you can do that for me, that will help me. Otherwise, you're not going to understand what I'm talking about, because I'm not going to go all the way back to the beginning and talk about things that I've already talked about recently. I'm going to assume some knowledge in this video. If you don't have much knowledge about the case, or you're new to my channel, then I think your time is best served by doing that. But it's up to you. You can stay if you like. So the song I'd like you to listen to is Welcome to My House by New Breed. This is one of the songs that allegedly some are liked to listen to. Now, people have rightly said that perhaps the words aren't appropriate for a 5-year-old, and maybe they're not, but perhaps Summer wasn't really listening to the words. Perhaps it's just a nice melody, right? It's a nice melody. I can't play it or else I'll get copyright struck, but I'll leave a link to it in the description box. I'll put the words, the lyrics on screen. You can have a read through as I'm just talking through this intro. I'd also like you to listen to one of my videos that I made a few weeks ago now. I made it on the 5-month anniversary of Summer's disappearance. And it's called something like The Reasons Why Summer Wells Got Gone. So there's that. And that explains the history, the reasons why kinship and land ties are important in this case. And I took you all the way back in that video to the feudal system, and I was hoping to be able to explain that you don't have to be a high up king or a high up anything in society, although maybe you get on better if some of your relatives are. But it's about the kinship, it's about the relatedness, and it's about the friendships that have developed over many, many generations. And in places like Beech Creek, those kinship ties, those friendship ties, those generational ties are very, very, very important. So if you live on Beech Creek and, you know, you can trace your ancestors back 2, 3, 4 or more generations, then the chances are you're related to a lot of the people who've given their names to the hollers. The hollers are the little valleys that go into the mountain. Between 2 ridges, they go into the mountain, and on the map they look like dead ends. But they're not really. They're not really dead ends. They might be dead ends to drive up there in a car, but they're not. They go deep, deep, deep into the mountain. And the mountain that Summer lives on, Summer's Hill at the beginning of Ben Hill Road, is just one tiny speck on that mountain. Ben Hill Road is a holler, but there's lots of other hollers that trace into the mountain between the ridges that have developed over many, many, many millennia. Numerous ice ages have helped to form the topography, and I think the topography of the Appalachians is absolutely beautiful. But a lot of people live quite isolated lives, or at least they did traditionally. Perhaps less so now, but still, you've got all of those kinship ties and stuff. And there's probably some really good elements to that system, as long as you stay in with them, because you've got a support network. But like kings of old, the problems start when people start to feud. People start to fall out over whatever. Doesn't matter what they fall out over. Or somebody marries an outsider. And Don Wells' mother was an outsider. She wasn't from Tennessee. She ended up inheriting 110 Ben Hill Road. It's actually 2 lots. It used to be 110 and 120 Ben Hill Road back when. The 2 lots have been kind of joined together to form one address now. It's 11 acres overall. Now, she inherited that property, and then Don eventually got it as her son, from her late husband. He was William Joseph Gold. And the Golds have been in Beech Creek for generation after generation after generation. Now, there's another video I'd like you to watch, and it's the genealogy of Ben Hill Road. And it shows that everybody who's given their names to the hollers surrounding Ben Hill Road and Ben Hill himself are related to William Gold. So William Gold had the kinship ties, the ties to the Morlocks, the Lights, the Barretts, and others who've given their names to those hollers. So I'd like you to watch that. And finally, I'd like you to watch one that's perhaps more akin to what we talk about in the Summer Wells case, and that is the timeline. And I argued recently that if you take out Candus's lies, you get a very clear timeline. A very clear timeline. So if you've gone away and watched all of those things and now you're back, that's fantastic. So let's begin. Let's begin. Because I want to tie all of this stuff together now. I want you to suspend the theory that you might have that perhaps you've become wedded to. Perhaps you've become angry if people don't talk about your theory. And that is happening. That is really happening. Right? And it's a shame, because it means that if you're stuck into one theory, then you won't learn. You won't learn as new information comes in. Right? I've developed my theory over 6 months. For the longest time, I thought Summer had been sold. I thought those kinship ties and stuff related to, in some way, Summer being sold. I don't believe that now. I believe the situation is much more simple. And I believe that the parents are more innocent than they are guilty. As in, I don't think that they sold Summer or directly had anything to do with her disappearance. It could be the reason... Whoa! What's falling on? Stumps. Just have a little rest here. It could be the reason why they passed polygraphs. All 3, Don, Candus and Grandma, passed polygraphs. Can you imagine if they hadn't have passed those polygraphs? We've been told by Sheriff Ronnie Lawson that they passed polygraphs. Yes, he could lie for whatever reason, but we have been told that they passed polygraphs. Imagine if they hadn't. Imagine they'd have been interrogated like you would not believe. They would have been kept for many, many, many hours. The interrogation would have got very, very intense. But they passed polygraphs, and I think that's the reason why those really intense interrogations haven't happened. I mean, they might have been interrogated. We don't know. We don't know what the TBI and the FBI have done with the Wells and Grandma. We don't know. But I rather suspect that their freedoms would have been much more curtailed quickly if they'd failed polygraphs. But they passed, which is interesting. Now, they're not very reliable. Don't come at me in the comments saying, well, polygraphs are not very reliable. I know. That's why they're not admissible in court. There is possible ways to, pass them or artificially. I get all that. However, let's just go with this scenario. Now, I'm going to argue here in only a few short minutes that there's 90 minutes or thereabouts in the timeline where I think things happened, and I think it's those 90 minutes that resulted in Summer getting gone and staying gone. And that's what I want to talk about. So let's carry on walking, shall we? Let's carry on walking. See, because the timeline absolutely makes sense if you take out Candus's lies. You see, the devil is in the detail. Now, she may well have got home around 3:20ish and done some laundry, planted flowers, got a piece of candy from Grandma, gone in to play with her brothers. These are the things that Summer may well have done. We don't know, but they may well have done those things. That's not going to take 3 hours, is it? Because the 911 calls came in shortly before 6:30. The dispatch call was made shortly after 6:30. So there's 3 hours just over to kill. Now, let's say that all her activities took about an hour. Summer had been stuck in a car for a long time. She'd got up early. She'd been to the hospital with Grandma. Maybe she had a nap in the vehicle. Candus went to Hunter's, picked him up. They ran some errands. They went to the swimming hole. And that's really the only activity that Summer had, because then she was back in the car, Grandma's truck, and running more errands, and then came home. We know she had a sleep. No, she's not dead. So she's 5. She's hyperactive. She's used to running around that hill in bare feet, having the time of her life, as free as a bird. And maybe after the activities and Summer had gone to play, maybe Candus, I don't know, had a smoke, had a drink, fell asleep. Who knows? Who knows? But I'm going to hypothesise that the kids got bored. They knew Candus was asleep or otherwise engaged, and they thought, better not wake her up, better not disturb her, because she becomes an angry mama bear if she's disturbed, right? We know this. Friends of the Wells have said that Candus is a little bit grouchy, shall we say, if she's disturbed. So let's not wake her up. Let's go and play. Summer says, come down and play with my toys. The brothers say, no, we're going to go out. All this is just a hypothesis, just a suggestion of how things might have played out. And that might be the reason why the 2 older boys feel really guilty. One of them has said to Don, it's not my fault. And Don said, I know, son. Another brother said he feels guilty that he didn't go down to play in the basement with Summer. Instead, perhaps, you know, if they'd been stuck inside all day, if that part of the story's true, that the boys were home all day, they wanted some fresh air and they went out and played. They've got dirt bikes. They play all around that hill. They go down to Ben Hill Road. They ride their bikes down the tracks. And they go down to the creek. Right? They've been told that they've got to take their pocket knives and stay together. But those 3 brothers are used to being out and about. Jodie Sue, the person who lived at 125 Ben Hill Road, she doesn't live there anymore. It's the opposing hill across the beginning of Ben Hill Road. She said that she hears the boys playing around the hill, down the hill, quite often. Right, so this is what the boys are used to doing. They're older than Summer. They were 12, 11 and 9 at the time Summer disappeared. So, you know, they're older boys. Still little boys, but they're older. Much older than Summer. Maybe this day, though, Summer went out to play with them. We know that Don said in his interview with WJHL on or around the 25th or so of June, 10 days or so after Summer disappeared, Don said that going outside was her downfall. Don also said that she often went outside and the brothers came in and they had to go and get Summer. This kind of thing has been explained by Don time and time and time again. Yet they refuse to believe that Summer could have wandered off. because she never leaves the top of the hill. My hypothesis is that perhaps she left the top of the hill, but she didn't go far. And she went to follow her brothers. She went to run after their dirt bikes, as free as a bird, running along. Oh, just seen a squirrel. I don't think the camera would have caught it. Maybe the brothers went down to the creek. Maybe Summer followed them down to the creek. Maybe some of the dogs, you know, Jodie Sue says she never heard the dogs that day. Donna said that the dogs had gone that day. Well, maybe some of the dogs wandered around the creek area, you know, wandered off the hill, wandered along. It was a hot day, so maybe they were just chilling out, wandering along. Maybe Summer went to play with some of the dogs. Who knows? Who knows? None of us knows. I'm just painting a picture of what little kids might have done on a nice summer's afternoon if they got bored and they had energy to spare because they've been stuck in, sitting down, playing games on the, or watching YouTube, watching Minecraft, whatever. And Summer had been sat for literally hours in a car. They had energy to burn, so they went to play out. Now, Jodie Sue heard what she described as a scream between 4:30 and 4:42. Now, she's hypothesised that that scream was an unusual scream. It wasn't the boys. It had to be Summer. Jodie Sue's daughter said, nah, it's kids playing. I can hear it still. I argue that that scream was the kids playing. Maybe over the other side of the hill to Ben Hill Road towards the creek. That's just my interpretation of what the scream might have been and why Jodie Sue's daughter could continue to hear it more muffled, because the kids were running, going away from Jodie Sue's place. So this then starts the clock, the 90-minute timer, because it's not till 6 or just after. Jodie Sue put it at 6:09 when she heard Candus and the boys shouting for Summer. She saw Candus come down the driveway and leave, and Candus says she went all the way around, this way, that way. There's a very, very echoey phone call that Ziggy played. I don't know who it was with, or a FaceTime call or something. I don't know who it was with. I've tried to transcribe the important bit. I'm not sure I've got it right.
After I called back in the police, and I went back down Hard Street to the church, and all the way down the road, and I went back in the home, come on, back out, 45 minutes later, the cops showed up on me.
Essentially, she went down Beach Creek to the church, she came back, she went all the way down the Holler, so she means Ben Hill, all the way down as far as she could go. She tells Miss Chris McDonough a similar story.
I wasn't just going to stand there and wait for them to send people out. Right. I jumped in my mom's truck and I went down the driveway as fast as I could. I went everywhere I could possibly think, every road which way. I didn't see no cars, I didn't see nobody at all. And I was like flipping out. I was a hot mess, so you call it. Okay.
But that's gone 6, right? Now, maybe they'd had a look for Summer, maybe a little bit before 6, even, you know, could have been slightly shy of 90 minutes. But who's counting? Because the upshot of this tale is that it was a long time before Candus realised that Summer was missing. It could have been 90 minutes. It could have been a little bit less. It could have been a lot longer. It could have been a lot longer. It could have been 2 hours. But Summer was gone. Hypothesise that Candus woke up and said, where's Summer? You know, the boys had come in perhaps because they were hungry and they'd left Summer playing, and they said, we left her down by the creek. And Jodie Sue heard Candus say, what have you done to one of the boys? Well, what have you done? You've left her there. What have you done? You've left her there. Anything could have happened to her. And indeed, maybe the worst thing did happen to her. because perhaps a little girl on her own, perhaps not used to wandering that far away, got lost. This is where the footprints come in. Now, Jodie Sue has confirmed that neighbours have talked about the footprints. Literally days after Summer disappeared, one of the neighbours whose property a search dog alerted at some bare child's footprints. A dog alerted to it. Child's barefoot, sinking into a soft part of the earth, left skin cells, sweat, very strong odours for search dogs, well-trained search dogs to pick up. If a dog that had been given Summer's scent alerted at that footprint, I believe it. I believe that dog, I do. The way Cracking Cases describe this is that you can make a triangle between Ben Hill Road, where one of the footprints was found, and then where another footprint was found. You know, the neighbour that spoke out took all his stuff down because he got hounded. He probably got accused of all sorts, who knows, because people had already got the knives out. But he said, literally days after Summer disappeared, look, she was there, she's lost, she's somewhere, because this is what happened on my property. There's another neighbour who wishes not to be named, who also, same thing happened. Bare child's footprints, a dog alerted. The skin cells that rub off as your foot sinks into soft earth. And then the sweat from the bottom of your feet, very, very strong odour for a dog. Why do you think dogs chew shoes? Why? Why do they pick shoes and socks? Why? Why do they do it? It's because they like the smell. It's a strong odour of their human. That's why they do it. So where did Summer go? In those 90 minutes, thereabouts, between the kids happily playing, screaming, and then realising that Summer was not with her brothers, where did she go? I've come round in a big circle. This is what this log looks like. And it's a perfect little perch just to have a rest. Could this story be so simple as Summer got lost, fell down a ravine, fell down a ridge, because these footprints were on a ridge. She fell down and unfortunately she couldn't get back up, and unfortunately she passed away there. Well, the TBI in their 6-month update said there's a very real possibility that Summer just wandered off. In the return searches that they did at the beginning of December, they circled in with planes, drones, helicopters round and round and round that area to see if they could see anything at all, you know, anything at all, any evidence at all. Now the undergrowth is a little less dense. Could that have happened? Yes, absolutely, it could. There could be no criminal activity involved at all, apart from possibly Candice fearing that she's going to get done for being a neglectful mother and now lying through her teeth. I don't know. But no criminal activity responsible for Summer's unfortunate demise. However, there's another possibility, because in those hollows connect to each other, right? There's tracks that go all over the place. You can see the indentations of the ridges and the little valleys and the tracks that run between hollows. And it's only the people who live there that know those tracks. Just like where I live, only the people that have lived here for a long time know all of these tracks. My land here, not physically my land, but the land I walk on here is a microcosm. The entire community historically is a microcosm of what happens in those hollows. And still today, in this village and surrounding areas, there are certain families where if you cut one of them, 10 of them, 20 of them bleed, and you know about it. Cross them at your peril. Cross me at your peril. So could it be that somebody there from one of those hollows took her? Pretty little 5-year-old, They had a liking for pretty little girls and they took her. I do not need to describe it. Now, there's lots of registered sex offenders in that area. One of them living the other direction on Grady Light Road, Frank Light, who is a relative, distantly, somewhere along the line. He's a registered sex offender. But many people who commit acts like that never get caught. They never get caught because people stick up for them. People, you know, what? I gotta go, guys. I gotta go. Generationally, maybe they've developed friends or relatives in high places. Maybe distantly there's kinship ties or friendship ties with, for example, the sheriff or other people involved who will stick up for you or who will drop you right in it if you're an outsider. But if someone took Summer, perhaps, just perhaps, knew who Summer was, it doesn't matter whether they knew who Summer was or not, because what happened next is a cover-up. That anybody who suspects what happened to Summer, who's connected to those hollers, who's connected to the nefarious side of what's going on, will protect their kin. And that's why the genealogies, understanding the land and the culture in that area historically is really important, because people won't tell, people won't talk. There will be areas of land that haven't been searched because permission wasn't granted. There's so many places that a little girl's body could have been hidden just on that one mountain. Just on that one mountain. It's vast. The terrain is difficult. Just on that one mountain. I've been hoping for the last 6 months that Summer would have been found. Someone would have said something. Someone would have seen something. Somebody knows something. But will they tell? No, perhaps never. Perhaps though, at some point, the truth will come to light. Perhaps. Perhaps. Hopefully. He is hoping. If you stuck to the end, I hope that I've given you lots of things to think about. I hope it's tied some things together for you. If you're really, really confused, let me know. Let me know what you're confused about, and maybe I can make a follow-up video to this, trying to explain what I mean in a little bit more detail. I have assumed some knowledge. I have assumed that you've watched some of the videos on my channel. If you went back and you watched those videos that I asked you to, and the song Welcome to My House by New Breed, perhaps you're getting an understanding now where I'm going with this theory. It's a very simple theory. It's Occam's razor. It cuts through a lot of the confusion that has been intentionally placed in this case to deflect, to obscure. But taking just a few basic facts that we know about, what you can do is you can form a picture that is very, very, very simple. So let me know what you think in the comments below. I've been Michelle. I hope you're well. I'll see you in the next video. It's goodbye from Miss Tillington, Miss Cassie Springer, and myself. Guys, for the secret end of the video club, no, I don't have a cold. People have been saying, you sound congested, Michelle. Please take care. I don't have a cold. I honestly do not have a cold. All right, guys. See you later. I'm going to go down this hill here and then up that hill, and then I'm going to go home.